Whew, round one, and hand's good. We've got all of our different factions. Rakano Artisan is a great start. We don't have too many weapons, but we have like a weapon and a unit. It's kind of perfect. It's not the best hand, but it's certainly not bad. I think I lead with the Rakano banner, because it'll let me play the Rakano Artisan for sure next turn. If I Crest of Impulse and then I find something else, I might want to change it, and then it just gets really awkward. I think this is just a little bit safer. Forge for the throne. So we're against an aggro deck, which might be really good for us here since we have the Silverwing familiar. A lot scarier if we're stuck with just like a Oni Quartermaster. You can deal a ton of damage back to them, but it's dicey sometimes. Like, it just becomes a real slog of a match where you're just kind of racing to hope to get enough cards off the top of your deck that build a giant creature. And you've got to hope that you've got some kind of protection because they're going to run a lot of removal.
Single shot is all it takes.
Wield the flame.
And they have a really nice starting hand. Those are some good ones. Immediately drawing the Warcry unit is pretty gross. I'm going to Crest. Let's see what we get. Do I want Spiked Helm? I mean, the extra power is nice. Worried about how much removal they have. Like, if they have double Annihilate or something, or just Torch Annihilate, things get bad fast. Fast. They have 8 damage coming in on us. The big problem is, what am I hoping to draw? Ideally, I would say I'm hoping to draw a Quartermaster. So, do I keep this one or not? It's a tough choice. I'm going to be able to make it, so it's going to be 5, 7, 8. I can go. I'm going to keep it, and that might be wrong. This is a really tough one. Against the aggro decks, it's just so dependent on what's in their hand. If they have the double Torch, or they have Torch Annihilate, or Vara's Favor Annihilate. Vicious Highwayman is scary because it pops the Aegis, same kind of thing. Then things can go south really quickly. I might hold on to this last one simply so that if we do get a Quartermaster, I can still try and go off. So I'm going to wait. The matchup I really like with this deck right now, oh man.
Which one of you needs shooting?
Alright. Yeah, they had a really good hand. Holy crap. Echo Daggers. That is a lot. It's not quite enough to kill them. 12. They deal... So they're going to be dealing us 13, 16, possibly another 4, 4, so that's 20. So there's nothing I can do with that. 16, I can't live. Well, darn. Close, though. This is what I mean about the lifesteal, though. It almost got there. Just a little bit too little. We needed another... we needed to be able to Artisan before we drew that first Elder's Feather. Something like that would have pumped it over. We might have been able to get there then. In any case, let's go to game 2. Alright, I'm going to rewind things a little bit. I want to go back to the conversation I was having before. I think that the matchup that I like with this deck is I kind of like it against things like Temporal and against Helm, incredibly enough, because you have a lot of Aegis and it just makes it really awkward for them to get rid of things, and they give you time to set up where you can spend a little bit of time just kind of being patient, making sure that you have a handful of Stellas and Oni Quartermasters and weapons, and you can just kind of snowball very quickly and keep up your protect and stop them from really doing anything. The aggro matchup is always just a bit of a crapshoot. It feels like a coin flip a little bit, where it's just, who's first, who has the better draw, can you race them? And, you know, Sometimes you can, sometimes you just don't quite get there. It's like that last one. Ooh, I'm gonna guess this is tokens? It's what it looks like. Shielded Shortbarrel is kind of nice. None of these need the Shielded Shortbarrel yet, but considering the colors that they're in, it's very likely that we're going to need extra protection for these. They probably have a lot of removal. Yeah, they're definitely tokens. Okay. Tokens it is. Ooh, I was gonna lead with the Silverwing Familiar just because I couldn't get through this, but with the Elder's Feather, I really want to be pumping up all the weapons in the deck. That's how you get to really absurd levels. I mean, we saw with that Ornamental Daggers last game how it just immediately pumped by 4. If we had like 2, 3, 4 triggers on it, and you just pump by 10 for 2, that's when it gets really broken and the deck actually starts firing off on all cylinders.
I searched the Shadowlands and found my way.
That is certainly annoying. To hold up Protect against another Vara's, which is kind of nice. And then let's just do this. Smash for 5. Now that Vara's was pretty well timed, unfortunately. We just have to hope that they can't race us. They don't have like a rally or something like that. It's hard to say what kind of deck they are 100% because there's a lot of different ways to build the tokens lists. It looks like they're probably more of like a control mid-range kind of thing. But it's a brew, so you can kind of run across almost anything.
Which would you like?
Alright. That is a bit of a problem, because I don't have any way to pump toughness except for the Shielded Shortbarrel, and that's a really expensive weapon that I kind of don't want to use here if I don't have to. Quartermaster. Oh. Jeez, this is tough. I kind of want to wait. I want to wait until I have another power, but I'm not doing anything. Alright, I'm just going to draw 2 here. And hope that I get... I'd have really loved a Spiked Helm. I think we just have to pass, though. I mean, I can't slam Stella into 2/2 flyer here. Marison's Disciple is a great hit. Please don't have anything. I'm hoping they just spend the turn setting up, doing something like a Vault of the Praxis. Because I don't mind if they set up for their kind of combos. Drawing extra cards. We can race that style of thing. The big problem is if they have something like a Rally or removal for the Oni Quartermaster. Honestly, probably worse is where right now would be removal for Stella. Attacking with the 2/2. Attacking with the insect is scary. That's what terrifies me, because that means they have some way to deal with Stella. Maybe
Which would you like?
Another Marison's. Like, I thought it might have been Sandstorm Titan, which I'm a little more worried about. Question here is, do I Shielded Shortbarrel this to protect it? Or do I Shielded Shortbarrel Stella? Probably Stella, honestly. Just so I can keep smashing. I'll have the Protect up. Rakano Artisan. Good card. Don't want to, though. I think if you're the opponent, you probably chump block this. And then you just start smashing it on the ground with everything. It's hard to say, though. I mean, I have no idea what other cards it could have. This is a total brew. There's the chump. just looking to buy weapons. Yep. There it is. Woof. Do they have the torch? Like, I have protect. Oh, that's unfortunate. Just if we have a weapon, we can probably chain it together to deal them lethal. The problem is we didn't.
Forged for the throne.
Because we've got a lot of Warcry triggers on our weapons right now. It's unfortunate. Oh man, they'd have all been so big. I'm kind of curious how big they are. I want to go in and check. But it was kind of close. We've had a lot of close calls here, but not quite getting what we need to really go off yet. Okay. This is another good hand. I like it. Kind of too bad to get Ornamental Daggers this early. Just because of the simple fact that it's probably the best card. Like, it and Spiked Helm are the best things to have Artisan and Stella triggers on. Because they just get absolutely busted once you can get a Quartermaster down. But, you know, still looking pretty good. This time I can lead with the Crest because I have the Justice Sigil. Do I want a Seed of Progress? Not really. I think we're good without that. I would like more power, but we've got enough to play everything in our hand right now. So I'd rather just draw more gas. Eventually we'll hit the power. I believe.
Forged for the throne.
Rise is great. Get us what we need. This is a good sign. They're not going blistering fast. I'm scared of things like Power Stones so they can get ahead of us. Oh, alright. Now we're starting to cook.
Locked and loaded.
We're waiting on the Spiked Helm so we can use it with Quartermaster afterwards. I shouldn't have played Stella first, since they're obviously holding up a torch. They might have used it on the Rakano Artisan otherwise. Now they're not going to. And if they have double torch, then they get the Stella, which is pretty bad. Yeah. I could have done that much better. Yep. How rude. Guys got excited and overzealous. Let's go
Swords.
Quartermaster and start drawing some cards. They just used 2 removal spells. If they kill the Oni Quartermaster, we still have the 4/3. Certainly not ideal, but we need to start doing something. Purify again. Yep. We're putting some pressure on them, though. I can also go for another Quartermaster. I think I start with the Copperhall, though.
On your feet, wanderer.
Okay. This is a question. Do I want to go with Quartermaster, or do I just go with, like, another weapon here? Another Ornamental Daggers or Elder's Feather could be really important. I think it's just going to be Daggers. Let's start focusing on this so we can get more draws out of our deck. A little bit of extra ramp going on. They have Obliterate. This looks pretty bad. World Bearer, Lumen Reclaimer.
Your time is far from ended.
Okay. I am a little confused as to what's going on over there. So they are dead? I imagine they are dead. Yes. Okay. Yay! We did it! I mean, we were going to get a lot of power off of that turn. We could have even gone for another, like, Spiked Helm or something with the Rise, which is pretty disgusting. Alright. 1 and 2. Now we're clicking. Oof. Yeah, this is so close to being good, but need that justice. I don't think we can risk it. This is a scary hand. It's really clunky. If we can draw a Sigil right away, it'd be nice. I do want to say, just kind of carrying over that from last time, I was saying like we could just go straight for a Spiked Helm. You'd be surprised how often that's the right play, I think, for the Rise to the Challenge. Just go straight for a free Spiked Helm and deal a ton of damage.
All it takes.
Works out way more often than it probably should. You can get some really, really big damage off of it for 4. I said, once you get 4 or 5 Warcry triggers on it with Stella and Artisans, it's pretty easy to just rise and hit them for like an extra 6-7 plus with a Spiked Helm for free. So it's a line that you've got to remember, because Spiked Helm is one of those cards, it's just so bad normally that you don't really think about it. Speaking of getting run over, yikes. Kinda want Stella. Yeah.
Locked and loaded.
Good news is that we do get the Copperhall Paladin. Bad news is that they probably have an Annihilate for it. Maybe we'll get really lucky and they'll like double Annihilate our Stella. Which I'm not super excited about. But Copperhall Paladin definitely seems like the card we need to keep alive here. Considering we're getting hit for 6 on turn 3.
Trust in your skills.
Blech. I can't attack. I might just have to chump block.
Take up arms.
I think I need the Paladin down, because I've got to try and do some kind of combo here so we can gain our life back and stay in this game. They had a really nice start. Unsurprisingly, yeah. Unsurprisingly, a good draw from Argenport midrange is still just one of the best things you can do in the game. It's incredible to be attacking for 6 on turn 3. On the play, too. Like, we're on our turn 2 and they're hitting us for 6. There's just nothing we can do there. Absolutely nothing. There's very few decks that can deal with that. Well, this hand's not great. Too bad. It's funny, I tested it a lot earlier, and as usual, you test out something and you do a bunch of changes to it, and you get it start to click and work together, and you get a bunch of really good games down, and then you play it, and everything just kind of falls apart. It's not doing terribly. We had some really close games at the start. But, man, the games before this, I wish I'd been recording, because I had about 4 or 5 wins in a row that were really sick. Like, we were just hitting for 30 damage with Paladins, and it was awesome. When you can combo this deck together, it's really nice. And it was very consistent for the last, like, 10, 12 games. Small sample size, that's the problem. I don't love the Shiv here. I should have had a thought as to whether I was topping or bottoming it before I put down the Crest. I think that I just want to bottom it. By the way, Shiv is just like the best feeling in the universe when you rip it off the top when you need it.
For the throne.
Sucks that the Seed of Impulse is going to come into play depleted, but I really want to get the Artisan down on turn 2. Just kind of makes sense. I think that I even play Seed of Impulse here. I know that's strange, but you want to be able to at least play one thing onto your Quartermaster before running it out. Question is, do I draw now? I think I do. Do they have the torch? They do. Darn. That's really bad just because of the depleted nature of the Rakano banner now. They are stuck on power, though. This is a strange game. And as I said before, don't just jam this in.
Take up arms.
I'd also like to go Paladin, and then we can Quartermaster and do something, and we get a bunch of value out of that.
Sharp and true.
Now we do this, and our opponent probably scoops here, because they're just stuck. Oh, yeah. Ooh, yeah. That's sickening. Definitely the end of the game. If you're the opponent here, you just have to scoop it in, right? And this is really 7 power to 2 with a full hand like this and this board. Plus, I mean, it's like turn 4. We just ramped 3 times. Okay, I mean, at this point, that actually just doesn't matter. To the point of just to daggers. We're gonna Oni Quartermaster again and do this just to keep ramping. And I think that that's the concession. There we go. Yeah. Yeah. Once you can start that ball rolling, like if you just get a little bit of breathing space, this deck just fires off incredibly fast. But it does need that breathing space, which is why Protect is so important. We saw it really, really well there. Like, we just got that little bit of a window where they didn't have the removal right away, and then just instantly it's like, we triple ramp, make our thing huge, draw 3 extra cards. At that point, they're just buried. Like, they harsh rule that? Okay, fine. I just go get another Oni Quartermaster off of Rise to the Challenge. I've got 8 power in play. Like, even if they had something like harsh rule, if it had been a little bit later, I think we recover really well from that. And that's without Protects. You just need that little bit of a gap, and you can really get in there. And this deck is a lot of fun because of that, because you've got to know, like, when is the time to just, well, I hope they don't have it, and just jam. Just go straight into a creature, because you can, like, slam a lot of stuff on a single creature, but sometimes you end up with them just annihilating it right afterwards. You just guess wrong and don't get to go there. I think that this build, over the last build of Bladestorm, if you did ever watch that one, has a lot of extra resiliency. There's having the extra units, going a little bit less all in on the combo. There's a few games that I've won where you just want to suit up a Silverwing Familiar, put a bunch of things on it, and you'll just win off of that. Like, you can beat Felon Control just by playing Silverwing Familiar fairly early, slamming a bunch of, like, pumped up Ornamental Daggers or an Ornate Katana on it, and protecting it with, you know, a Protect and a Shielded Shortbarrel and stuff later on. So you can certainly win that way, and you don't have to go off with this deck at all anymore. You can get there with a Stella and just fly it over. You don't need the Quartermaster like you used to, so I think that this deck is a little bit more resilient than some of the other versions that I've played. We had some really close games this time. We ended up 1-4, but like tiny, tiny, tiny margins on those first 2 games, and they were definitely in our direction, right? Like, we were 1 or 2 points of damage off, like 1 draw different, and I think we could have easily won those, and then it would have been 3-2. We'd be looking pretty nice with this deck. So I would definitely recommend giving it a spin. It's a lot of fun. I certainly don't think it's a tier 1 deck, but it is a blast to play, like I said. There's a lot of lines as to, like, when you go all in on the combo and when you don't. And sometimes when you go all in on the combo, it's just hilarious because you can just sit there and just warp and warp and warp off of the top of your library and just be slamming daggers over and over and over. And you can get like a 30-40 power Copperhall Paladin even. It's really insane when you get late game and they just kind of let you do what you want. Get double Quartermaster and a Paladin out and you're almost unstoppable. So it's, like I said, bunch of fun. Hope you all enjoyed it. And of course, you may know that I'm now sponsored by Inked Gaming, so I've put the link down below in the description of the video. So I'd really appreciate if you want to check out my Inked Gaming store page, because it's got a whole bunch of stuff for gaming if you do any D&D or if you do Magic the Gathering. They've got mouse pads, so they kind of do a lot of different really cool products, and we're going to have some channel-oriented stuff, so things like Elder Dragon Hoedown. Some of our channel art is going to be on there. We already have some stream art from before from the Pickle Challenge. So get a bunch of photography and things on that. Definitely check it out. It's inkgaming.com. They're a wonderful sponsor. And I will see you all next week with some new decks. Have a good one.